The world is abuzz with the recent developments surrounding former President Donald Trump. A whirlwind of activity and speculation has been ignited by a series of 34 felony charges linked to a $130,000 hush money payment to Stormy Daniels. This news has sent shockwaves around the globe, stirring up a flurry of international media coverage. From the bustling newsrooms of London to the high-tech studios in Tokyo, headlines such as "Trump in the eye of the stormy" and "Trump in the dock" have been splashed across front pages. The media frenzy is palpable, and the world has its eyes firmly fixed on the United States. In a New York courtroom, the former president stood for his arraignment, pleading not guilty to the charges. This event, a pivotal moment in the unfolding saga, has been followed closely by international news organizations. Every movement, every word, every expression of the former president has been scrutinized and dissected in minute detail. Throughout the day, Trump's activities have been under a microscope. From his arrival at the courthouse to his departure, the comings and goings of the one-time leader of the free world have been documented, analyzed, and debated across the globe. It's clear that the implications of this case reach far beyond the borders of the United States. This is not just a case about a former president. This is a story about power, about justice, and about the very fabric of democracy. It's a narrative that is being written in real time, and every twist and turn is being watched, studied, and discussed in every corner of the world. As the world continues to watch, one thing is clear: the saga is far from over. The spotlight once again shines on the former president as he faces these serious charges. The world watches as the saga unfolds, and the spotlight once again shines on the former president. The ripple effect of Trump's charges is felt far and wide as international media dive into the story. The charges against the former president Donald Trump have made waves across the globe, resonating in the headlines of many international news outlets. The fact that Trump pleaded not guilty to a staggering 34 felony charges related to a $130,000 hush money payment has become the talk of the town. News organizations around the world have been following Trump's arraignment in a New York courtroom with bated breath, tracking his comings and goings throughout the day. The charges against him have become a global spectacle, with various newspapers featuring front-page stories about his indictment. Headlines such as "Trump in the eye of the stormy" and "Trump in the dock" have been splashed across the front pages, underscoring the gravity of the situation. It's fascinating to see how the world is responding to Trump's charges. The international media's coverage paints a picture of a world that is watching, waiting, and reacting to every development in this high-profile case. The charges against Trump have become a global talking point, transcending national borders and political affiliations. The world's reaction to these charges tells a story of its own. It's a story of intrigue, of shock, and of anticipation. It's a story that's being written in headlines and news reports across the globe. And as this story unfolds, it's clear that the world is watching closely, eager to see what will happen next in this unprecedented saga. The global reaction to Trump's charges speaks volumes about the international community's interest in American politics. It's a testament to the far-reaching implications of this case, and a reminder that the world is more interconnected than ever before. As the world reacts, it's clear that the implications of these charges go beyond U.S. borders. The ripple effect of Trump's indictment is being felt around the globe, and it's a story that the international media is following closely. This is a story that is far from over, and the world will be watching as it continues to unfold. The legal proceedings have commenced, but what does it all mean? In essence, an arraignment is the first step in a criminal proceeding, where charges are formally read to the defendant. In this case, former President Donald Trump. He stands accused of 34 felony charges related to a hush money payment of $130,000 to Stormy Daniels, charges to which he has pleaded not guilty. This arraignment took place in a New York courtroom, a setting that has become all too familiar for the former president. Here, the judge confirmed the charges and ensured that Trump understood them. This is a crucial step in the legal process, as it forms the foundation on which the rest of the trial will be built. It's also important to note that at an arraignment, the defendant is asked to enter a plea. In Trump's case, his plea of not guilty sets the stage for a trial where the prosecution will have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he committed these felonies. The potential outcomes of this case are as varied as they are significant. If Trump is found guilty of these charges, he could face serious penalties, including hefty fines and even prison time. On the other hand, should he be acquitted, it could be seen as a vindication of his claims of innocence. But the impact of this case goes beyond Trump. It's a matter of public interest, not just because of his political stature, but also because it could set precedents for future cases involving high-profile individuals. However, it's worth noting that the legal process can be long and complex. It's a journey that's just starting for Trump, and it's likely to have many twists and turns along the way. In the midst of this legal whirlwind, one thing is certain: the world is watching, and the stakes are high. As the courtroom drama continues, the world waits for the next chapter in this riveting story. As Trump faces the charges, what transpired in the courtroom? On this day, former President Donald Trump found himself in a place he's been more than once in his life, but never quite like this. This time, he was in the dock, not as a businessman, but as a former president facing serious felony charges. His comings and goings throughout the day were closely watched, with every movement, every expression under scrutiny. Trump, known for his larger-than-life persona, maintained a stoic demeanor as he navigated the day's proceedings. The courtroom was a hive of activity, buzzing with anticipation. The atmosphere was thick with tension, a stark contrast to the composure of the former president. Every individual in that room knew the gravity of the situation. This wasn't a business dispute or a defamation case. This was a former president facing an array of felony charges. As expected, reactions were polarized. Trump's supporters rallied behind him, echoing his claims of innocence and decrying the charges as a political witch hunt. They held steadfast, their belief in their leader unwavering, their chants of "Trump is innocent" reverberating outside the courthouse. On the other side, critics viewed this as a day of reckoning. For them, it was a step towards accountability, a moment that marked the crossing of a line that should never have been crossed. Their voices, too, echoed through the streets, their calls for justice just as loud. Amidst this sea of reactions, Trump stands firm, maintaining his innocence, his expression unreadable. The former president, known for his flamboyance and brashness, seemed to retreat into a shell of composure, his usual fiery rhetoric replaced with a measured silence. While the former president maintains his innocence, only time will tell the outcome of this legal battle. With the charges laid and the arraignment complete, what lies ahead for Donald Trump? As we move forward, the path is still uncertain, but let's delve into some possibilities. The next steps in Trump's case could encompass a wide range of potential outcomes. On one hand, the former president could engage in protracted legal battles, calling upon a battery of lawyers to challenge the charges in court. This could lead to months, possibly even years of litigation, as every point of law is scrutinized and contested. Alternatively, he may choose to negotiate a plea deal, which would likely involve admitting guilt to some charges in exchange for a reduced sentence. This would expedite the process, but could have significant repercussions for Trump's legacy and future political aspirations. In terms of timelines, we're looking at a court process that could extend well into the year 2025 or beyond. Court calendars are notoriously unpredictable, and high-profile cases such as this one often involve numerous delays and postponements. But what does this mean for the U.S. political landscape? Regardless of the outcome, Trump's case is likely to have far-reaching implications. If he's found guilty, it could fundamentally alter perceptions of presidential accountability and set a new precedent for legal action against sitting or former presidents. If he's acquitted, it could be seen as a vindication, potentially fueling a political comeback. However, it's important to remember that these are just potential scenarios. The actual outcome will be determined in the courtroom, based on the evidence presented and the interpretation of the law. As the case progresses, the world remains captivated by this unprecedented legal battle involving a former U.S. president. So let's stay tuned as we continue to follow this historic case that's making headlines around the globe.